Hey there, it's Michael Baez, and we're back with the Memphis Regionals top four matchup between Michael Pramois and Pablo Mesa. Both of these two players are very accomplished, with Pramois being the sixth god and Pablo Mesa topping a few regionals. They're going to shake hands and get started here. We're seeing Pablo start with the Buzzwole, which is a very great start. Since he's going first, he's going to have the opportunity to Bloodthirsty Eyes in his second turn. Michael started with a Rockruff and a Rockruff and Zorua on the bench. Also, a really pretty good start. He's not going to have to bridge it next turn. Pablo placing the Brooklet Hill down to go through his deck and search for a basic Pokemon. That's going to be really good. He's also going to be going through his prizes. Seeing what's prize, we kind of missed that at the beginning, so hopefully we'll get through the rest of that at some point later on. We see the Regirock in his deck. We know that this deck runs a few extra things. He's going to go ahead and grab that Remoraid or Octillery for some draw support later on in the game. Just double checking and going through his prizes to make sure he hasn't prized anything too big. He's going to shuffle. And Pramois has a pretty solid start. He's thinking about his next turn. He's probably going to want to venture another Zorua at some point. It'd be really good. Both of the players need to be kind of cognizant of their bench size, because Dangerous Rogue becomes a pretty big part of the game later on. He's going to draw the DC per turn, take advantage of the Brooklet Hill that Pablo put down, and go through his deck. He can only grab a fighting Pokemon or a water Pokemon, so he's gonna go maybe grab a Rockruff. He doesn't have to. Going through his deck, you see he has one Lele, Ultra Ball. He's gonna go ahead and grab that Rockruff, so Dangerous Rogue will be doing 150 damage if Pablo can pull it off next turn. He's gonna go ahead and shuffle his deck. It's kind of randomized and ready for the next go around. But yeah, both of these decks are pretty straightforward. Michael Pramois going to Field Blower that Brooklet Hill, attach Fighting Energy to his Rockruff as well as the Choice Band, and tackle for 30 damage. 40 damage, sorry, excuse me, with the Choice Band, and 10 from tackle. So Pramois probably has a pretty good hand if he's not going to play a supporter for the turn, or you see he has a Zoroark, so he doesn't need to play the supporter. So Pablo attaches a Fighting Energy to his Rockruff, use Max Elixir. But yeah, you can see here there's two different versions of Rockruff in play. The corner Rockruff, which Pablo is using, and the Sun Room promo that Michael Pramois is using, which is able to attack for 1 energy. And not having to flip a coin. But Pablo is going to go ahead and not Bloodthirsty Eyes, but he will evolve into his Lycanroc GX. He's going to Sycamore here. He's probably looking for a hand a little bit like this. The Lightly is kind of nice, but the extra Remoraid isn't going to be helpful here. He's going to play the Octillery. Seems to have a lot of cards in his hand, so he's not sure whether or not he wants to play him out and sort of use Dismal Hand, which will allow him to draw for 5, or whether or not he wants to keep his hand and just see what happens the next turn. The biggest worry is that he might get Dangerous Road here for 100, or that he might just lose. He might get Claw Slash for 110 against something that he likes, which might just be his Octillery. It's his only real setup card, and you'll see that a lot where Pablo Mesa's draw support is just his Octillery. Pramois is going to be using that trade ability from Zoroark GX to be able to, take advantage of a good attacker in Zoroark, as well as having the ability to draw 2 cards. He's going to go ahead and attach an energy, Fighting Energy, to the Lycanroc, which is perfectly fine because he max elixired the first one onto it. Well, let's see what happens here. He's going to go ahead and do 30 and 30, which makes me feel kind of surprised that he didn't take the KO on the Zorua with Jet Punch when he had his Lycanroc down. But it looks like Paramount has the ability to Bloodthirsty Eyes. Is going to go ahead and play down that Lycanroc ZX, Lycanroc GX, Bloodthirsty Eyes, the Artillery, and attach a DCE to allow him to Claw Slash, and he's going to go ahead and play an N, which is a little bit rough for Pablo, since we know he had another couple max elixirs as well as another Remoraid, which I'm not sure if he runs a 2-2 line of Remoraid in his deck, but even a 2-1 would have probably put him in a better position. Even if he had something like a Rescue Stretcher, that's kind of going to be out of his hands for now and not going to be drawing back into that Remoraid for a little bit. Enhanced Hammer from Paramount onto that Lycanroc GX, so it's going to set Pablo back not really too much, but he is going to be losing out on that 20 damage from Strong Energy. So let's see. Paramount's going for his one prize. We'll pick up a Lele. He has a 1/1 Lycanroc prize, which doesn't seem to be like too big of a deal. He already has his Rockruffs out, knowing that he's going to be able to Bloodthirsty Eyes a few times. Gonna Dangerous Rogue for 180 here, which is just enough to knock out. Pablo's gonna Sycamore away a Lele, a N, and a Sycamore. A lot of his draw power. Surprised that he did that. He has another Rockruff in his hand, another Buzzwole in his hand. Well, 2 Buzzwoles is good. If you can max elixir onto these effectively, you might be able to catch up in the game. He hits another max elixir, and that is good. He has 2 Buzzwoles with 1 energy, and he's going to be able to take his first 2 prizes here with Paramount not having anything else seemingly set up. So hopefully we'll see Pablo pull away here after this second max elixir. See the Sudowoodo, a Strong Energy, and he's going to whiff. Know that Pablo has at least a 1 and 1 more Sycamore in his deck, so that's going to be really good for him later on down the line when we come to that late game, and he's going to want to be drawing a little bit more energy. That's 3 of his max elixirs played, if I recall. We know that's at least 2 max elixirs played. But yeah, he's going to go ahead and attach that Choice Band to Buzzwole. See if he turns over his GX marker to do Dangerous Rogue X. Does 50 for every bench Pokemon on the opponent's side. And here, Paramount's in kind of dangerous position. If he doesn't take a KO, or at least Bloodthirsty Eyes a Buzzwole, he will be getting knocked out by Lycanroc's just Claw Slash due to weakness on the Zoroark. But Paramount's going to go ahead and get a Lele down and Wonder Tag. Imagine he wants an Acerola, but he just played that energy, so maybe not. So we'll see what he gets after this, and hopefully you can identify what his game plan is. There are no longer any, field blowers down. There are no longer any Strong Energy down on the board. So it looks like he got the Bridget just to Ultra Ball it away. I'm probably going to see him pull out probably another Lycanroc or another Zorua. He's going to pull out another Zorua. He has another Ultra Ball in his hand, and he's going to go ahead and end. So here we are. He has yet to use his trade ability, so Michael's opted to save that for the end of his turn. Hopefully, once he ends himself down to 5, he can find something that will be useful. I think he still needs another Lycanroc and another way to get another energy attachment, or maybe a multi-switch for next turn. That's something that his deck runs. We see 1 puzzle at a time. So we know that Michael will always have that option to be able to puzzle of time for something that is in his discard that he needs. With 2 puzzles, he'll be able to pick 2 cards out of his deck, which is really strong, considering the loss of VS Seeker in the rotation that happened in this new season. A puzzle time will be a good way to recover 2 different cards. Paramount's going to take 2 with trade ability, trading away that Lele. And he got another Ultra Ball and another Zoroark. So next turn, he'll have 3 Zoroarks in play or 2 Zoroarks in play. But he doesn't have a way to do too much damage. So here we are. Pablo's drawed. Going through his cards. Pablo's going to need another energy attachment per turn to get that knockout onto the Zoroark GX. Currently, it looks like the best case scenario for Premwatt that he's able to find another puzzle and do some damage that way. But Pablo's going to go ahead and take the knockout onto the Sarua using Jet Punch. And he's going to do 30, which is 60 onto the Zorua due to weakness. And maybe he'll do another 30 to the Lele or the Zoroark GX that's already pretty big. I'm going to go ahead and Ultra Ball here, hopefully for a Lele. Premwatt still hasn't used his own dangerous rogue, so Pablo needs to be kind of cognizant of that. That rem rate's going down, but I think he played out a lot of his hand already. I'm not sure he has any more cards that he'll be able to play. It looks like he just has that Remoraid. Seems kind of odd considering. I wonder if he was out of Lele's, and I think that's what Premwatt's probably going through the deck looking for, wondering why he would have taken one Remoraid and put himself down to 1 card. He will Jet Punch, only puts himself down to 2 cards. Grabs something off the prizes, but another Buzzwole Rescue Stretcher. He's really looking for that Stretcher though. He really needs to get that Remoraid, that artillery back. Now Premwatt has his double Zoroark set up, so he's going to be able to trade twice per turn, which is another 4 cards into his hand every turn, making that Puzzle of Time play very, very likely. We see Premwatt toying with the Kukui here, which will draw him 2 cards and give him 20 extra damage. But he's going to go ahead and trade away that Lele to draw his second pair 2. Grabs an N off of that. And a Lycanroc GX. So he's going to play the Kukui and draw another 2 cards. I think he's looking for a fighting energy here. But the Field Blower is really nice. He's going to be able to get the 2 of those choice bands off of those Pokemon. Pablo's board pretty empty besides the Pokemon. He's going to Bloodthirsty Eyes the Lycanroc that already has the 120 damage on it, so he'll be able to knock it out with a Riotous Beating, which will do 100 damage. And the play after that, Pablo needs to hit a couple of things. He needs to play a Max Elixir as well as another draw supporter. So Michael's going to go ahead and grab another Puzzle of Time out of his deck as well as the energy. So Michael will still be able to Dangerous Rogue the turn after this. But Premwatt's going to take 2 prizes, getting another Lycanroc out of his deck as well as a Strong Energy. We'll see what Pablo does. He has 3 cards now, but doesn't look like he's going to get too much further along in his board state due to losing that Lycanroc. But either way, Michael is going to be able to trade twice this turn. And it looks like the Dangerous Rogue was always going to be sort of. So Pablo's going to opt to try and stall, forcing Premwatt into either a Guzma or a Bloodthirsty Eyes to get some damage done. Guzma. I'm not sure how many Floatstones Premwatt runs, but also a Floatstone would get him out of this situation. the DCE. I think we've only seen one DCE from Paramount so far, and he's going to trade away that N. Pulled out a Sycamore, trade away to Zorua. Got a Floatstone, which is exactly what he also has a Mallow if he wants to play that. He can Bloodthirsty Eyes the one with 2 or none. And look, attach. He's going to attach his strong energy to the Zoroark. And he's going to do another 100 damage with Riotous Beating. He didn't need to take a knockout anywhere. Now that he knows that Pablo's kind of stuck in this position of having to draw off the top of his deck and hopefully pick up something. So Paramount's going to trade again. He has an E-Hammer, which isn't useful. But he gets the Sycamore. He's going to Sycamore. Probably looking for another DCE. Oh, he's going to trade for the Sycamore. I'm sorry. I thought he played the Sycamore turn. He has another strong energy in hand, which could easily go on to another Lycanroc. Maybe even put it on the same Claw/Lycanroc. On the same Lycanroc that already has 2 energy on it to activate Claw Slash. Yeah, and that's what he's going to opt to do. So Claw Slash will be doing 150 damage this turn. If he opts to use that, but a single Riotous Beating also takes a knockout here as well. I'm gonna go ahead and attach a Choice Band, so we're looking at 180 from Claw Slash. It doesn't look like I'll have the option to Dangerous Rogue, but with the amount of cards that Paramount has in his hand, it's super likely that he already has a Guzma in hand. Given how much he's gone through his deck, given how many times he's seen that turn. I think he just Knuckle impacted for the knockout. And he's going to Guzma for a game here. Going to pick up their cards and get to game 2 of the Memphis top 4. In that game, we saw what happens when you lose that first draw supporter. Michael Paramount was able to keep his draw through Zoroark the whole time, but a single Bloodthirsty Eyes stopped Pablo Meza from making any progress in his deck, and he ended up having to top deck a few cards in order to get back in the game, and it just didn't happen for him. So Pablo was obviously a little bit disappointed in his performance in game 1, but he can definitely come back in this next game and do what Buzzwole does best and kind of steamroll and knock out those Zoroarks before they can get going. And after this, we'll be back. After this break, we'll be back with a game 2 of your Memphis Regionals.